Welcome back to Marvel Mondays. I am Mike.
I am Brandon.
So, after some of the dust has settled from Spider-Man Brand New Day, we thought this week it'd be kind of fun to just talk about some of the ongoing like theories and that. And we thought a good place to start would be the Reddit Marvel theories community, because there's some really good ones on there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so and it's always kind of fun to look at those things anyway, because I think of all the ones for Brand New Day that turned out to be false, including a lot of stuff that we speculated.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always fun to look at these now and then later on go, wow, that was really off.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Like the whole
but
everyone thought Man Spider, or
yeah,
like the
yeah,
most popular
exactly.
one was Venom.
Right,
So
right, and
and
it
none
was
of them.
neither.
None of them.
It
I
was
thought it
neither.
was
Yeah,
mind control. So
yeah, yeah, exactly. So there we are. Now, could it turn out to at some point be Man Spider and he just hasn't evolved to that point yet?
yeah,
Maybe.
yeah,
Seems like of the three, that's the one that he's most likely on the path to.
yeah.
But the first one that came up, just as of right now, is somebody rewatching the Fantastic Four, and they're showing the shot in the end credit scene of and this is one I've seen before, of the Fantastic Four cartoon, which kind of at the time seemed like, that's a weird end credit scene, but the speculation is that this is Steve Rogers and his son,
Mm-hmm.
um,
You know what's
on here.
you know what's interesting about that? As I think it, the remember they said that the Russo brothers directed the post credit scene for Fantastic Four?
Yeah.
Did they ever confirm if it was both of the post-credit scenes?
That's a good question. That's a good question. I don't know if they did. Yeah.
Because everyone assumed like, okay, yeah, it's the one where like it's Doom coming in
Right.
to Franklin. Like that's the
Right.
automatic assumption. But if it was both, that would lead even more like credit to that being the Steve and his son.
Right. Right. And that is what the general theory has been, that that's who it is. This person just commented that like the back of the head looks right, which it
Yeah,
kind of does, except if you consider the Steve that we get in the Doomsday trailer, the hair is too short. So,
yeah, yeah. So it would really be when they pull Steve from
yeah.
that timeline,
Right. At what point?
or this is a really good segue. That leads to the other theory of what if this was Loki the whole time?
Right, right. And that's a common one that I've seen, not just on Reddit, but and that suggestion is interesting because what they're suggesting there that is that is that the old Steve that we saw in Endgame, who gave the shield to Sam, was actually Loki in disguise, which I mean, that's an interesting theory.
That
I
old
don't know
man
if I
Steve is
buy it.
Loki?
Old man Steve. Well, that's what that's saying. That not
Hmm.
only is the one that we're seeing, because that's a common theory, is that the one that they show on the ship, and we've had a few people on our videos who've commented that as well, that the
Mm-hmm.
one we see on the ship is actually Loki disguising himself as Cap,
Yeah.
because Thor wouldn't be prepared to see him, at that point.
Yeah. You know
Yeah,
what I don't like
and
about that though is I feel like that takes away from Steve Rogers and the character.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like, cause then
yeah.
anything that he does in this film, it's like, oh no, that wasn't Steve. That was
Right,
Loki
right,
pretending to be
right.
Steve.
Well, and my initial reaction was always like, well, no, Loki can't yield Mjolnir.
Mm-hmm.
He can't call Mjolnir. But the responses have been, well, if you think of the events of Loki season 2,
Mm-hmm.
he may be worthy now.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
gave himself up for the multiverse, and he may be worthy now. Possible, possible. I still don't think they do that, because I think you're right. I think it would cheapen that scene.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
one of the other ones, and darn it, I think I lost it now, because unfortunately I have this sorted by best, not newest. But one of the other ones that came up was related to who that is in the background of the scene where they
Mm,
show, um, they show Steve's hand getting, receiving Mjolnir,
yeah.
and there's been a lot of theories on that. One of them that I saw was that
This
that's
one.
actually Loki.
That one
Yeah,
right there.
yeah, yeah. In the background, who is that? One of them there suggested that that's actually Loki. Um,
I see the
which,
one person saying that it his son, and it can't be Loki because it doesn't have long hair. They're not seeing long
right,
hair on it.
right,
His son, maybe. That's why maybe there's a time jump of that's where Steve gets his long hair and beard back.
right. Yeah, that would make sense. That would make sense. Um, I've thought of a few other people that
See,
could be. First of all, it could be Doom.
maybe.
I
I
mean, it
think
doesn't actually look like that person's in a cloak,
so. The
though.
one person commenting on that pointed out that it could actually be that Loki's behind him, and Thor's reaction of it's not possible is to Loki, not
Yeah,
Steve, because he saw Loki die by Thanos, ship exploded, like,
right,
and so
right,
his reaction to seeing Loki is more that's not possible
right.
versus
But
Steve, who he knew returned the stones. Maybe he
right,
saw him come back as old, but you know,
right. Yeah, but like that's not possible. Yeah, it doesn't make sense for Steve. Um, it would make sense for Loki. Although you'd think by now Thor would be used to him
yeah, Loki
like
faking
thinking
his death.
Loki's dead and he's not
Yeah,
actually dead.
yeah.
But I think that's a really good one. Um, or is it possible that it's Iron Man that it's actually
Wow, Iron Man would be
a
kind of
Tony
crazy.
Stark, yeah, a Tony Stark variant
Do you
that's
think
there
they'll bring
somehow too.
back? I think at some point they're going to bring back Iron Man. They're not hiring Robert Downey Jr. Not going to have him come back as Iron Man, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm thinking in Secret Wars, he's got to show up as some
Right. At
Tony
some
Stark Iron
point.
Man variant. He's
Yeah.
got to.
There's no
I'd
way
be
that they're paying him
shocked
that
if they
much
didn't
to
do
then
that.
like have him disguise his voice and
Yeah,
hide his
yeah.
face the entire time to then have him
Right,
knock him back as Iron Man.
right,
Like if they're
right,
gonna have this be the reset for the MCU, there's got to be a sort of like callback to the hero that started the MCU for them.
right,
You know?
right. And if they do like reboot the whole thing, do they have a different Tony Stark come in then? Someone else as a younger Tony Stark come in? That's also tough.
I
I
think
think
they'll be
that's
careful
tough.
about that. It's kind of like Wolverine. You haven't really heard. You've been hearing the X-Men castings.
Yeah,
They haven't there hasn't even been like really like any substantial rumors about Wolverine. And I'm
yeah,
wondering if Wolverine is even in play in the first X-Men movie.
yeah.
It's like how do you bring someone in to take over that role that Hugh Jackman has like had, you know?
Right, right. Yeah, he is Wolverine to most people. I mean, but it's
Yeah.
the same thing for Iron Man. I mean,
Yeah.
they've been able
Iron
to
Man and
do it.
honestly like even you look at the three, Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America.
Yeah,
How do you cast somebody else in those roles? Because those three
yeah,
actors, like even a guy like Chris Hemsworth, it'd be hard to get somebody else's Thor and sell them on it because he's only
yeah.
going to be compared to Chris Hemsworth, you
Right,
know?
right. And the problem, like, if you were talking like if there was like a 5 year gap, say,
Yeah.
where they didn't have those characters, then could you bring them back? I think maybe. Because if you think where they've been able to kind of successfully do that, Spider-Man, obviously.
Yeah.
Um, Fantastic Four. There's been a couple of versions of the Fantastic Four that have all been, reasonably, I guess, successful.
hmm I mean,
And
even if you go to the
and
X-Men, they were
Hulk.
able
Hulk's the other one.
Hulk, yeah. But even the X-Men, they were able to somewhat recast them
Right,
as their younger versions.
right,
And
right.
there was actually a lot of people say um, Michael Fassbender and I can't remember Professor X. the
Oh
young
yeah,
Professor X actor.
yeah, I forget
It's
his name too.
escaping me right
Wow.
now.
Yeah, yeah,
But like a lot of people say that that was really good casting by picking
yeah,
them.
yeah,
But the person that they didn't recast was Wolverine.
yeah. Exactly. Yeah, he carried over from
So,
both of those. Could they bring those actors back to play older versions of those characters and still have them, as
would you
Professor
want
X, or
to?
do you think that would be too much confusion?
Yeah,
I mean,
would
I
you
think
want
I
to?
agree with you. I think like they both played those roles really well, and
Yeah.
I think if you bring somebody in who doesn't play them as well, um, and also the Patrick Stewart
Mhm.
version of that has already
Mhm.
been seen in the MCU, but um, he also played it very well. And
Mhm.
Ian McKellen, I think,
Yeah.
who played Magneto, like they also played their
You
versions
know,
of those roles really well.
you
So
know who they were tying to Magneto was Adam Driver, and I thought that that would actually kind of work because I could see him as like the sort of like that Magneto role of like, no, the mutants are an evolution, like we
yeah,
have more power and everything like that. I could see him in that role. But then
yeah,
they said,
yeah.
no, he's not Magneto, he's Mr. Sinister or something like that.
Oh, oh,
And then like there's
yeah,
somebody else now. I forget the other role that they said he's tied to, but they keep switching his role that it has me questioning if he's
yeah.
actually been casted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think one of the things I heard is that they're going to announce that at
Oh yeah.
D23, which I think is next week. So I'll be interested to see if they do announce the full cast, because we already know they've got their Jean Grey. What I
Yeah.
wanted this is a little bit off topic of the theories and stuff, but
Hmm.
what did you think of Sadie Sink's portrayal, her version, I guess I would say, of Jean Grey, compared to the previous versions
Hmm.
in the X-Men movies?
So I think it'll be in the X-Men films, I think it'll be more interesting and like different because I feel like they always portrayed her as somebody who was lost and like needed the help, you know?
Right,
And like had like Professor X sort of like take her under her wing.
right,
But now it's like she had her sister in that role who's like kind of guiding her.
right,
She started to learn how to control her powers and like fully controlled her powers, I guess, at the end of the movie by herself
right,
because she got her full powers and like was able to use them.
right.
And now she kind of has an ally in Peter Parker, so she doesn't really need a Professor X as like not a, and maybe not a mentor because I think they could still bring in a Professor X as a mentor, but like I think it'll just be interesting how they try to develop that now because
Yeah.
she's
Well,
somebody
and
that's coming in knowing how to use her powers, has already like used her powers to sort of their not their full extent because I think you still have like the Phoenix Force and everything
right, right.
that you would have, but like figured out how to use at least her like telekinetic powers to their full extent.
Mm-hmm. Um,
Yeah, I think
when
that'll be
when
like
is
in.
the? Do we know when is the X-Men movie coming out after Secret Wars?
Yeah, I think it's after Secret Wars.
Yeah. So that to me, because there was a lot of speculation too on that end credit or not the end credit scene, but the end of the movie,
Mhm.
where she's on a bus going to what looks like somewhere in
Mhm.
upstate New York.
Mhm.
Speculation being she's on her way to the X-Men uh, school or whatever,
Mhm.
which, as far as we know, in the MCU doesn't exist yet. So
Mhm.
I wonder, is that where she's actually going,
Well,
or after Secret Wars, is that something that's going to come into play then after,
so
Battle
the
World and all
so
that?
the one person pointed out that in the MCU, Avengers Campus is now upstate as well.
Right, true.
So could she just be heading there?
True. Is there still an Avengers campus after
Oh, after
Endgame though?
Endgame.
Avengers campus got kind of blown up. There's the
Yeah, that's a
Avengers
good point.
Tower in New
Or the new
York, which
Avengers now.
the new Avengers Tower with a
Yeah.
Z at the end. Um,
You know what? I
but
would have to
yeah,
rewatch Brave New World because I feel like that would be explained in Brave New World because Sam kind of takes over the
right,
Avengers.
right, true.
But I feel like most of Brave New World took place in DC, not really in
Right.
New
Well,
York.
yeah, and if you remember Brave New World, Ross was just asking him to restart the Avengers. So
Yeah,
if it even like went into it, it would have been either at the end of the movie or like,
yeah,
and I don't it didn't really go into that in the end credit scene, but
yeah,
so
yeah,
it would have had to be really late in the movie, I think.
yeah.
Let's see what other ones we got on here. Do you see any that look interesting that you want to talk about?
Let me see. I thought that there was one
Here's
that I
one on
saw.
the brand new day end credit scene, which we've already talked about.
Hmm.
Um, Tom's Peter is just letting Ned know he's okay. Okay, but where is he?
Yeah, see, there's this one that is saying kind of what we were talking about, that little gap in between them, that's actually
Yep.
Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker. I think that's like kind of a very talked about rumor that like
Yeah.
not only is there somebody definitely there, but that there's a big possibility that that's Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
been
It's
seeing
definitely
I've been
a
seeing things
very
that are saying
conspicuous
like
gap.
the Spider-Man arriving as Miles Morales, and I just don't see that.
Yeah, that it would be a really
Weird way to
it's
introduce
too
him.
random. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think if they want to introduce that character into the MCU, they need to do it in a way similar to the way that the Spider-Verse
Hmm.
movies have done it because I think like that was a great introduction into that character,
Hmm.
for
I think
the
it would have to be like at the end of like Spider-Man 6, whatever that would end
right,
up being.
right.
That Spider-Man 6 is a Peter and Miles story.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
introduce Miles in like a post-credit scene or at the end of Spider-Man 5. Then Spider-Man 6
right.
is the two of them working together, and then Spider-Man
Yeah.
7 is like him carrying it on.
It just
Whether
became
that
yeah, it
means
just
Peter dies or like he
becomes
continues,
Man
but is
Spider.
just yeah.
Yeah,
I
that image does definitely there's definitely somebody missing there.
here's my own
That gap
theory.
is just too conspicuous.
Here's my own theory that I haven't seen on Reddit. Um, the the Parker Industries that took
Hmm.
place in the comics, I could
Right,
see that happening in the MCU just because of all
right,
the tech that they had Peter building in Brand New Day.
right,
I
right.
could see them kind of having him go down that path maybe.
Yeah,
And like especially if he becomes friends with Ned again and Ned remembers everything, I could see them trying to carry that on. Um, like clearly Ned built the Spidey tracker. So
right.
like he would be
True.
smart enough that you would have the two of them work together, and maybe that's how you get Hobgoblin, is because he's
Yeah.
building tech for Spider-Man. You know?
Oh, that's a really good theory. A lot of people have been complaining about that too, though. That oh yeah, okay, he's living by himself in this apartment in New
Yeah.
York. Where's he getting his money from? He's putting together all this tech. Where's he getting the money for all this tech?
Hmm.
Um,
So
yeah, I mean,
I heard though that it was that he still had all those suits and everything from Tony.
right, right,
And so they're saying like he just broke down all that tech. He was given the storage room, but that storage room probably had a lot of tech. And if you
right.
remember, Peter in Homecoming built his original suit with like the dumpster diving
Yeah, yeah.
materials.
We already knew he was. Well, there's also no assumption that you know yeah, Peter Parker doesn't have a job and all that, but
Hmm.
Spider-Man is still, part of the Avengers, and who's to say that Stark Industries isn't still,
Yeah, funding.
funding what he does. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, it's kind of I know, and then there's the people who complained about Ned and MJ, and they have an apartment in New York City, and she turned down a job offer that she got,
Hmm.
hey, Ned might be making tons of money from the Spidey tracker. We don't know. Like that stuff's always funny to me when people overthink like those aspects of it. Like
Right.
we never. Where did Steve Rogers get his money? He had an apartment in Washington
Right.
in Winter Soldier.
Right.
Who was paying for that
Like
apartment?
no other superhero is really tasked with figuring out like their
Yeah.
jobs, you know. Doctor
Yeah.
Strange, I'll give him a pass. He was a doctor for how many years? He probably had a
Yeah.
pretty good
And
savings account.
he had to sell all his high end watches, if you remember,
Yeah, yeah. So he's made good money from
except the
that.
one. Uh, let's see. Are there any other big theories for Secret Wars that aren't Battle World? Let's see if there's any good ones here. There are no what? There are so Secret Wars that they aren't shown in the movies, and I can't even make sense of this right now. Hanging out the scene of Age of Ultron where they all try to lift Thor's hammer.
Hmm.
Okay.
You, you know, I can't find it, but I saw a pretty good theory that said, what if the entire length of Doomsday, you don't see um, Robert Downey Jr. take the mask off or anything? When he takes the mask off, like he'll take the mask off towards the end of the movie,
Mm-hmm.
and he'll turn, like he takes the mask off. When he turns and everything, everybody sees that he looks like Tony Stark. They assume,
Right.
you know, and then they said he's killed, and it's revealed that he's just a Doom bot,
Oh, yes, I heard that
and
one
then the
too.
actual Doom will appear
Yeah.
in Secret Wars. I
Yeah.
thought that was a good one.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
here's where you would be bringing back Iron Man though, because no way would they be paying Robert Downey Jr. that much for Doomsday and Secret Wars just to have him be a Doombot and killed off at the end
Right.
of Doomsday. Like they would
Right.
have him be showing up in Secret Wars for that, for the money that they're putting towards
Right.
him for these.
Uh, this one's kind of funny. This person says the whole film is just Korg telling stories to kids about the various battles that nobody bothered to cover during the MCU so far. Uh, at the end, Reed and Sam come in to the circle and say, "That's all good. They won." Thor drags Doom in chains. They take him. They take off his mask, and it's Tom Cruise as OG Tony Stark. I like that. It's like so out there. Um, let's see if there's any other good ones. Secret Wars and Spider People. Okay, I'll keep this short. Recent. This is titled "Brand New Day in Doomsday." I'll keep this short, which is ironic because here's the length of it.
No, that's fine.
I'll keep this short.
Keep it short to three
Fail.
paragraphs. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Recently, we've had a very large increase in activity due to the new Doom trailer and the brand new Day release. Just a reminder that, oh, this is actually somebody. This is actually somebody who's being a yeah. This is actually somebody defining the rules. So that's not even a good theory. That's hilarious. I'll keep it short. 3 paragraphs later. There's also people talking about the scene because it was a little bit of a weird scene and I'm just reading one of the threads here on it, but the scene in Brand New Day where there's that girl in the apartment building and she says to Peter, "Hey, we live on the same floor," or
Oh yeah.
something like that. And is that just her flirting with him, or because then he moves his apartment,
Mhm.
or or is it something else?
Mhm.
So this one's on that. I think I know who Apartment Girl is in Brand New Day. The scene was purely in place to show that Peter, oh yeah, that Peter was still in love with MJ and wouldn't entertain the idea of other women. Maybe. Um,
I don't know. I've heard
yeah,
that
maybe.
they could retcon that and make that they could make that
Gwen.
Gwen. Yeah,
Yeah,
couldn't think
that
of the
could be.
name.
That could be.
Because supposedly they said that well, it's probably retroactively adjusted. I don't know if this is true. They said in Thor that Jeremy Renner in the credits was originally listed as just Shield agent. They didn't put him as
Oh,
Hawkeye.
yeah. I don't know. That would be weird though, because
He's referred
in
to as
that,
the Hawk,
well, yeah, yeah,
but they yeah.
yeah. Well, wait, is that in that or is that in Avengers where I forget the doctor's name, Selvig.
Mm-hmm.
where he goes, the hawk, he's up in his perch. But I don't think they call him that
Oh, and Thor.
in
Yeah,
Thor.
they said that was
That's a
so. The
really
one
good.
person said that that was retroactively that they said like, oh yeah, no, he's Hawkeye. So they were saying they could do the same thing with that, where they say like, oh no, that was actually Gwen.
How about
So
this one? Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say this one isn't really a like theory. It's more of a question that I think I'd like to hear your take. They said with Jean Grey appearing, they're clearly going to be doing a modern take on the X-Men. Like they're going to be in the modern time. It's not going to be like how they did uh, Fantastic Four, where they place them in the 60s.
Oh, right.
It's clearly going to be modern day. They said, how do you think they'll handle Magneto? Since like him being a Holocaust survivor and everything is a big part of his
Oh,
storyline, that like that's why he doesn't like humanity and everything. So
right.
how do you think that they'll handle that?
I thought I had seen something that it's going to be that like part of his power is actually that he ages very slowly too.
Hmm.
So, he could be somebody who doesn't appear to
Okay,
be as
but
old
how
as
do you
he
handle
is.
that when he starts aging normal in 5 years when they're making the movies and it's like Magneto's looking like
Well,
he's
I
aging
mean,
like the rest of us.
so here's the thing though. Thor, how old is Thor supposed to be?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
No,
and
that's what
and
I'm saying
don't
though.
get me wrong,
You run into
Chris
those same
Hemsworth,
issues though.
yeah, Chris Hemsworth, he looks good for whatever his age
Yeah,
is,
but if I watch the
but
first Thor and Love and Thunder, I definitely can
yeah,
tell that he's aged.
yeah, you're like, oh, I know he's thousands of years old, but he's been through it the past couple of years.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
that whole Jane Foster situation. It's just like
yeah.
not done well.
It's
So
aging him quicker.
this is another one though. Doom's plan to collapse the multiverse will be using Thor to force Loki off his throne. I think that Doctor Doom's easiest way to destroy the multiverse is trying to destroy the multiverse himself. He would have to go through Loki,
Hmm.
but to do this, he doesn't have to face a god head on, but targeting Loki's single weakness, Thor. Interesting theory, except everything that we've heard about the movie, he confronts Loki pretty early on. It
Hmm.
sounds like anyway. Again, those were all rumors.
Yeah, I hope
Um,
not. I just hope that it's not the one that Loki gets killed like off screen.
yeah, or like, well, clearly he's in the movie because there's the scene of him in what appears to be Steve Rogers' house in the 1950s or
Hmm.
whatever.
I just
Um,
feel like the Loki character played more of a role in like getting us to Doomsday than any other character.
right.
And so if you just kill him early on, it just kind of feels like, oh, like they're even talking about you need to watch Loki to understand Doomsday.
Right.
And that'll be disappointing if then they're just like, all right, 10 minutes in and he's gone.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that I mean that's true. That would feel like not a good payoff. Like you'd really like to see Loki have a larger role in it, which is why I
Yeah.
kind of do hope that he's in that spaceship with like Steve.
Yeah.
Um because I think that would, that would be, and maybe he's like standing in there with all the other people. Who knows? You know, when
What about like the Guardians? Like they're still out there somewhere.
yeah.
Do you think
Well,
that
I've heard
do you think
things
they end
that
up coming back in either of the movies?
Yeah, I would think. Remember at the end of Guardians 3, it did say, what did they refer to him? The
Yeah.
something Star Lord,
The
the
legendary Star Lord will
legendary
return.
Star Lord will return. I would think maybe he shows up because he's on Earth. Although
Yeah.
there were the theories that he was going to show up in Brand New Day. Um, so assuming that he is still on Earth, you would think maybe he'd show up.
Mhm.
This one's kind of funny. This is small, but they're talking about the scene from Deadpool and Wolverine
Mhm.
where Thor is standing over Deadpool crying, and
Mhm.
they're always like, Why is he crying? Why is he crying?" Do we get payoff for that scene in Doomsday?
I don't know, because that's a clip from what was it, The Dark World? Isn't he
Is it?
origin? I think he's originally holding Loki in that.
Oh, is he really? Yeah, that's. Well, it does look like the scene where he's holding Loki. It
I
does
think they
look
just
like
like
the scene.
placed because
Also,
also he has
it really wouldn't work because it's
yeah, he has his
long-haired
long
Thor.
hair. Yeah.
So we never get to find that. I mean,
Yeah.
that could be. They could say, well, no, no, no. That's a different universe
Yeah.
than any of these that are involved. And yeah,
Yeah.
um,
The one that I'm looking at now, it's talking about uh based on the ending of Brand New Day. It says, I'm firmly in the camp that there's a second Spider-Man approaching Earth 616. We already know from the Doomsday trailer dimensions are colliding, and the Fantastic Four ending showed that was the worst, showed that was the case definitively. But I
right.
think they mean the Thunderbolts
Oh, right, right.
because they show the ship approaching. I
Yeah,
think,
and they say extra dimensional vehicle.
yeah, that's where I fully think like that's gotta be, right? It's gotta be that Toby's Spider-Man is in the
Well,
ship with the Fantastic Four,
right.
and
The only thing,
like that's it's picking up him coming
right.
into Earth. I
There
just
was
still want to know like was the Spidey tracker based off of just people taking pictures, or was it that it's somehow capturing Spider-Man's DNA
yeah,
and updating it?
or something to do with his suit, or I don't know. Because if you're like the scene where he shows up in the apartment,
Mm-hmm.
like yeah, could people have been reporting that? But then again, like wasn't there something? So I gotta watch it again. I gotta go see it again to see this. But um, I feel like there was something when Peter was in the apartment and Ned was showing him the Spidey tracker,
Mm-hmm.
and it like came up something that like Spider-Man was nearby, but he said, "Oh, it's glitching" or something to that effect.
Mm.
So it could be a DNA thing then,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And
The
I
reason I
mean,
would think it's DNA is because how would it pick up another Spider-Man if not for DNA?
right? Exactly, exactly. Yeah, yeah. It has to be
It
something
also
like
could
that.
be
And
that
we
there's
already
no
kind of,
explanation for the Spidey tracker, and that post-credit
yeah,
scene was just them like winking that, you know, there's a
yeah.
Spider-Man in space, you know?
Yeah, yeah, that could be it. I mean, so it's either he's on the Fantastic Four ship, or there's an incursion happening,
Hmm.
and
It's
because
picking
there's
up
that little
another world.
glitch that goes on. It's picking up, yeah, another world. Because one of the things I'd heard too made it sound like uh, maybe Toby's Spider-Man is gonna die early in the movie because
Hmm.
that the scene they said the scene where you see Professor X and there's like the fire in the sky outside.
Hmm.
Um, they say like in that scene that you can hear it's like you can hear Toby Maguire's
Yeah,
like screaming in the
from
background or
when he was like
something.
holding the train. They
Yeah,
say it's
yeah,
just if you lay the audio over, it's the same scream.
yeah, yeah. So does he die early or is he already confirmed for Secret Wars?
I don't think they've confirmed anybody for like
For Secret
anybody
Wars.
like that for Secret Wars. I think the only one really confirmed is well, Sadie Sink and
Yeah.
Chris Evans.
Right, right, and that's because Chris Evans confirmed that he's in it, which is
Yeah.
hilarious. Um,
It'd just be weird if they don't have a Spider-Man in Doomsday, I feel like. Right?
yeah, well, I feel like they're definitely going to have a Spider-Man. I think the question is which Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but the weird thing to me also will be if Tom Holland's Spider-Man doesn't show up. They really haven't, other than the Spidey tracker thing at the end that shows some Spider-Man out in space. They really haven't given an explanation in Brand New Day for why he wouldn't be in Doomsday because there were all those discussions early on of oh he's going to die at the end and he's
Mm-hmm.
going to be in the ground and they're just going to show the symbiote
Mm-hmm.
okay that would explain why he's not in it because oh he's dead but oh there's the symbiote that's going to save him but not yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
um that didn't happen so if he's alive.
Him and honestly Hulk. You
Right,
know?
right, right, right. Well, Hulk, we don't know where he is because, you know, it's likely that like, I mean, they said took him to a mental hospital or whatever for evaluation. But I think it's more likely that someone in DODC probably has him, you know, put away somewhere in one of their
Yeah.
prisons, even though,
Worlds are
the
colliding though, and you're not like, all right, let's let Hulk out.
yeah, that's true too. That's true. We kind of need him now. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, though, at what point are you going to the raft and getting Red Hulk and you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
like getting everybody? Who's the abomination you should be going for at this point? I
Yeah.
mean, I think we've all had enough of She-Hulk, but She-Hulk needs to be included. Like, shouldn't everybody be in this?
Yeah. Yeah.
I, this is not related to any of that, but have you seen some of these memes of like, you know, the scene at the end of Brand New Day where Frank Castle says to Peter something about I never had a friend like that, and
Mhm.
I've seen all these memes of like
Mhm.
Matt then just like basically crying
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
he kind of tried to be that friend to Frank, but never quite could be.
Yeah.
Um, so I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
So, well, there's more on here. We could probably spend another hour doing this, but that's too much time. So
Yeah.
maybe we'll do some more of these another time, or I think next week maybe we dive into Vision Quest since that's coming up. Unless you want to talk um, about what we think is going to be new in the Endgame re-release.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see. We could also
Yeah.
see maybe D23 if that is
Oh,
next
right.
week. We'll maybe
That's
have
true.
updates on the X-Men casting that we could
Yeah, good point.
get a
Good
little
point.
more
We could
into
talk
that.
about that. And at some point when we hit a lull, we'll start doing like our top 10 MCU moments or something like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
stay tuned, guys. Thanks for checking us out. Make sure you subscribe.
Bye, everyone.